Welcome to a Life Illuminated podcast. I'm your host, Jack McAdoo, bringing you the show that shines a light on the path to a more purposeful and fulfilling life. Whether you're looking for motivation, direction, or just a little extra inspiration, we've got you covered. What's happening? What's happening? I hope everyone is doing well. I hope this is finding you in a good space. No matter where you're at, if it's morning, noon, night, I just wish you the best. Speaking of space, I always am grateful that you're allowing me into your space right now and that you're given the time to listen to this episode. And I do really, really appreciate it. So what we always do, man, we always take a deep breath in and exhale just to relieve a little bit of stress and to be in this safe area and to try to get something new for you today, man. Anyway, I've talked a lot about different modalities, healing modalities, going to the doctor, and things that are out there that a lot of people aren't familiar with. One of them is plant medicine, the healing aspects of plant medicine. And I'm bringing on a friend of mine, Tony Piazza. He's in Arizona, and he works with a lot of different medicines and is going to share that with us today. What's happening, Tony?
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Honored to be here.
No, it's blessed to have you on, man. So, yeah, we talk about plant medicines. I met you in Sedona and through a mutual friend of ours. And that's the one thing I didn't know a lot about was plant medicine. I think that the only one I really knew about was ayahuasca. Because my journey in life didn't take me down that path. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Except when I was a kid, we would experiment with things when I was, growing up. But as far as any kind of journey and healing and things like that, I only know of ayahuasca. So what's your experience? Define medicine, first of all. And then, after your definition of, what led you into this path of providing medicine.
I think that medicine is anything that helps to bring you back into health and harmony and a balanced mental emotional state, truly connected to your soul and your inner higher self. Mm-hmm. And there's I work with frequency medicine, as you know, and then plant medicines. So I've been working with them for a little over 5 years now.
Nice. And what are they called actually? What are the medicines? I mean, are they all hallucinogenics or?
Yeah, psychedelics. And prior to my awakening 5 years ago, I was afraid of them because I thought I'd lose my mind, and you always hear the horror stories and different things like that. So I never really experimented with them. Mm-hmm. And I've worked now with ayahuasca, bufo, which is the toad. And then I've worked with ibogaine, which is a plant from Africa. And I've worked with changa, which is plant DMT and other plants combined. Mm-hmm. And I've worked with mushrooms and San Pedro, the cactus.
Nice. What led you to this? I know that you were once a veteran, you're now a disabled veteran. Is that kind of how you found this on your journey? Were you looking for something and this is what came about?
I was not looking for it, but I had an awakening 5 years ago after a suicide attempt because I had broken my back, blown out shoulders, compressed discs in my neck, nerve damage, immense amounts of pain, getting thrown in circles at the VA hospital. Yeah. I had other life crises going on at the same time, and it put me in a really dark place, and I was over it. And I ended up having divine intervention on my life, and then I had very vivid dreams and unexplainable events, and I was actually pulled from my physical body completely sober in this presence of love that was so potent that it literally dropped me to my knees and humbled me, and I was just crying, and I was pulled out of my body and looking at myself on the floor, and I said, I'm so sorry for how I've been living. Please give me guidance and use me as a conduit. And it put me on this path where I've been working with and mentored by healers and shamans and holistic doctors and psychics and channelers around the world that if you would have told me 5 years ago I'd be involved with, I would have laughed at you and told you to F off. But,
Right.
so when I first went through this awakening, I was getting mass amounts of downloads and information, and I thought I was going insane. And it just led me on this path working extensively with frequency medicine, where I've witnessed like miracle healings and things like that. And then about 7 months into massage school, where I was learning massage and energy work, I was introduced to ayahuasca. And I sat in my first ceremony. And at this time, because of my experiences that yanked me out of what I thought reality was, I was just trusting my path and completely open to it. And miracles became like a thing that was common in my life. And I was crying from gratitude constantly.
Right.
So when I went and sat in ayahuasca, I was prepared, right? I didn't have any fear of death. And I just went in there with an open heart, and I went into like deep healing of childhood trauma. I had a very abusive childhood and didn't even realize I was carrying all of this pain and sadness and anger. And so I was able to see that from a different perspective and really process it. And I had like cosmic surgeries. I was shown how to reach in my body and pull stuck energies out. And it was completely foreign to me before this. And it was so life-changing, and I was actually shown my life path working with these medicines. So I don't know.
So these experiences that you had on ayahuasca. See, I have to be, I know you, but at the same time, there's some things that you don't know. I've never done any of it. I've never done medicine. I just haven't found. I want to. I just haven't found the need or the calling for it. You know what I mean? But it is something I'm going to do because I've heard a lot of people, and ayahuasca is, the buzzword, I guess. It's the trend word right now, or the trend medicine is ayahuasca. I know there's others out there, but I've had other people that have, gone through the ceremony of it and told me it was life-changing. You hear about the purging and everything else, the vomiting and all that. There's those aspects of it, but people tell me, some people said it worked the first time and they had amazing experiences, and and then some of them have said it took 2 or 3 ceremonies. But it's amazing from what I've heard how deep you can go with this and what can come out and how it shifts your life. Is that what you're seeing with every instance and every form of medicine? Is it the same?
So different medicines are a little different as far as ayahuasca is ingested. So it does like purify and cleanse your blood, and the purging comes from like an energetic release. It's not like you're feeling sick. But we carry stored trauma in our body and in our organs, and everything is energetic, and you really get to experience those vibrations on another level. And like when I purged my first time, I was trying not to, because they were teaching me how to reach and pull things out of my body, and I was like, I don't need my body. Like I was laughing at our bodies. There's like these skin suits that make all these weird noises and process things differently. But then she's like, "You're gonna purge." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I started dry heaving, and so when I say she, there's this presence in ayahuasca that's not in other medicines, and it's like grandmother. So she's
that's the lady or something they call it, right? Is that the lady, or am I wrong?
Yeah, she's like a grandmother figure. Wow. So she's kind of like a stern but loving grandmother. She'll make you face yourself and process these things and go into your blind spots. But then she'll also show you like the cosmos and creation and different things that are beyond what you think a human should be able to understand. But she said, "You're going to purge." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And I started dry heaving. And as I'm purging, I'm seeing all the things that like disgusted me, like as far as like maggots, pus, blood, and things like this. And so as I'm purging, I'm tasting it, feeling it. And then as I'm doing that, she's showing me how all of this is needed in the cycle of life for decomposition and all these different things. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Right.
There's a whole different level. But it's different for different people. Some people are purging because of traumas and stuck emotions. But that's very common in ayahuasca, and a lot of people have reservations on that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't want to be purging in front of others, and I understand, but when you're in that space, you're not even aware of the people next to you because you're going through your own process, and it's normal.
Yeah. My fear, and I always talk about fear, we shouldn't have any, it's always, we're afraid of something that hasn't happened yet, but I don't even want to say my worry. It's just, my thing, I guess too, is, can you come back from it? Would I come back from it? Would I get lost in it? Would I, vanish, so to speak, never come back from it, die, whatever. And that was always the fear or the worry or whatever it is for me, because I'm going somewhere in Peru or something like that. And I'm sitting with some people who I've probably got to know, but there's someone administering this, and it's like, okay, who are you? I'm extremely sensitive to everything, everything, life, medicines, vibrations. I'm real sensitive. And it's just, for people like me that want to eventually do this, do they recognize that, okay, maybe we can't give a full dose, whatever that is? Do they recognize that, or they're just like, nope, you need this much, let's roll?
So it depends on your facilitator, and this is very important. Like, people seeking these experiences need to be very careful about who they're sitting with, because there are a lot of imposters and people doing this out of ego and money and things like that. So I think if you're looking for it, you're going to have to really learn to trust your intuition. And if it feels forced, do not do it, because I've had people that have booked retreats and something felt off, and then they found me somehow, and they're like, okay, this feels right. So like, you have to really, like, don't force these things. If you set your intention that this is an experience you want to have, the universe will make it happen. And like I said, when you go into these experiences, you want to think about the bigger questions in life, and like, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? How can I heal this? How can I overcome these things that are blocking me? Like, really put some thought into it, because spirit knows all. So when you're going into that space and you're not taking it seriously, you're not going to get profound experiences. You're going to get a light show. They're like, oh, he's not really here for the work, and like, truly knowing these things. But yeah, so I always like, if I've worked with many different facilitators, and I have a very select few that I recommend to other people. Right. Due to my experience, and I've sat with some not so good ones, and all of that. So yeah, that's something that you really want to be aware of, and don't force it. Like, if you're not feeling quite called yet, wait until you get that nudge, and you'll know. Yes. All right, I'm ready to do this.
Yeah. See, with me, I guess that's where I'm at. And I think we talked about that in Sedona too. I'm just not quite ready. I know it's work that I want to do for myself, because, there are traumas way, way back, and I sit with myself, through meditation and mindfulness and awareness, and, just being present with myself to try and, deal with some things. But I know it's all surface. I'm going to a certain level within my capabilities of meditation and everything. And I'm working on what I can so that I can function, celestial being in the human suit. So I'm doing some things, working on some trauma that way. But I know that that's kind of like taking an aspirin, to really, really get rid of it. You need to go deeper and deeper. So when people come to you, if I came to you, for instance, we sit down and we talk, are you there through the process to help guide someone? You know what I'm saying? So if you're in the medicine and you're going through something, you've purged and everything else, and now you're in the medicine and you're being worked on, your hallucinations or whatever. Do you walk with them? Do you explain what's happening? Are people are they cognizant of what's going on? Does that make sense?
So ayahuasca is unique and you're directly connected to your higher self, and she's there kind of guiding your experience. I don't serve ayahuasca. I was helping Clay Villanueva serve, who's a well-known facilitator in Arizona. He passed away a year ago. So my job in ceremonies was to guide people to and from their seats to the bathroom, or if someone was really heavy in the medicine, they would bring them to me. Like if they're having a hard time, and I'd take them in the back and kind of clear them and bring them back into their body. So the ceremonies that I currently facilitate are changa, and it's they call it smokable ayahuasca. So it's about 40 to 90 minutes, and you're aware of your body, but you're in the spirit realm. And during that time, I am working on you with giant tuning forks, hands-on healing. And if I feel called to relay a message to you, like you need to surrender, let this go, whatever is coming up in that period of time, I'm there to kind of reassure and hold space for that. So it's very unique, and there's no purging with this medicine. So you're done and you're back to normal really quick. So my friend calls it like businessman's ayahuasca. 'Cause you're going in doing the work, but there's no purging, and it's like you're back to normal pretty quickly. Ayahuasca ceremonies are 4 to 8 hours, and typically several nights in a row.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get hung up on ayahuasca or anything. I was trying to, just covering a few. And actually, I was going to bring up changa next because that's what you and I had talked about, and we had mutual friends that you held space for, and they came back to me and said, "Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. You got to do this." I said, "Well, let me get called." So I guess the one thing a lot of people talk about is the hallucinogenic effect of a lot of medicines. Is changa like that? Is it a hallucinogen, or is it the same thing? You're just getting in with your higher self. You see certain things, and the things that you see, are they meant to be seen because of the reason you went into the space?
It's definitely catered to the individual, because we all have our own soul blueprint and guides and things that are there to kind of assist us in our processes. So they've done studies where they're actually mapping out the spiritual realms, because they're like slow dripping DMT into people's systems. And so like these places exist, and there's a lot of commonalities between people that have done these medicines and meeting the same beings and things like that. But for every experience, you're going to go in, and whatever your soul needs in that moment is what you're going to experience. So your visions are going to be catered to you as an individual. And this is the difference. Like if people go in here and take mushrooms or do these things like recreationally, they're not going to get the life-changing experience and wisdom, because spirit knows. Like they know where your intentions are.
That was
what you're there to do.
That was, and I don't mean to interrupt, that was actually going to be my next question, because I remember as a kid, we used to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show on acid. You know what I mean? And we would do shrooms and things like that. And, back, even I was around during Woodstock, and people just got messed up. So it's the same thing, medicine, but tweaked, but used for a more enlightened purpose. Would that be a good description?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where like a lot of people don't understand it, especially like people who did that, right? They're like, I never had any of these like experiences where, and it's like, yeah, they know your intentions. Like they're going to give you a light show, and like you're going to get like the light mode, right? But when you're ready to really do the work, then they're there to support you.
Okay.
And it's life changing, and a lot of it's beyond words. It's got to be experienced, because I can talk until my face is blue about everything that's happened to me as far as
I'm sure
activations and healings and of my physical body, like physical surgeries done on me, working with other dimensional beings and things like that. And it's very profound and amazing. But until someone goes through that experience, they're not going to be able to truly relate, because it's beyond the human like mind. It's an experience being truly connected to God on a level that most people don't even know about. And this love that is so powerful that it makes anything here that you love like nothing. And it's amazing. So that's when people have near-death experiences or they go through these ceremonies, they all relay the same messages.
Wow.
And how we are here as a soul to heal and evolve and take life's lessons and suffering and be grateful for it, because it's actually helping the evolution of our soul. And oftentimes our trauma is actually our gift. So like all of the abuse and the things I endured and like my body being destroyed and all of these things. And I mean, I went down some dark paths, right?
Sure.
And now it's helped me as a healer to truly connect to the individual and without judgment, and to be able to hold space for those deep-seated, like hard emotions. And I've helped Special Forces veterans and ex-Hells Angels and people from all walks of life. And these big, tough, grown men are
Sure.
weeping and being able to heal and forgive themselves and completely change their life in a weekend.
Wow.
So it's very humbling to be able to do this work for sure.
Is it used more and more for vets with PTSD? And is this,
there's a lot.
Is the success rate, pretty good with these guys and women?
Yeah, it's very high. I think that some of the studies are showing like 80+%.
Wow.
For depression, anxiety, PTSD, things like that. So I help veterans with frequency medicine because that's also been shown to clear PTSD that's stored. But the plant medicines are extraordinary, and they help you to see life for what it is and to release all of that. And a lot of us are so disconnected, whether it's trauma, programming from the normal world, and not truly knowing ourselves. We're just kind of a shell of who we are supposed to be.
Right.
And so that creates depression, and you feel lost, and you don't know what your purpose is. You're just going through the motions. And what this does is it reconnects you with your truth. And it's amazing. And all of us are unique, right? So we all have our own divine gifts that we came here for. We all have our own purpose. And when you can truly connect to yourself and know who you are in that way and shine your light for others to see, so that they have permission to do the same.
Absolutely. In regards to vets, with PTSD and other, mental issues, what is the veterans, the VA clinics, VA hospitals, what do they see in alternative medicines, plant medicines like this? Are they embracing it at all? Are they shunning it because it's mainstream? They kind of shun everything that works.
I don't know that anywhere that they're actually implementing this. I have a friend in California that works and does free ceremonies for vets. And it's starting to like pick up, right? So people are starting to become aware of it.
Nice.
And like the veteran that I helped that was Special Forces, he came to me through my PTSD psychologist because I had changed my life so rapidly and healed. She was shocked. So he came to us, and she'd been working with him for 9 years with no progress. And then 1 weekend with us, and he completely changed his life, and she was blown away.
I remember you telling me that story. Does it help to, when you're doing ceremony using medicine, whether it's with veterans or someone like me, or whoever, depending on the reason that you approach this, that you're coming into this, do you know, like on changa or whatever, do you know when to implement, resonance healing as well, different frequencies, using tuning forks, different sounds? Do you know when to implement that? And when you do, does it enhance the quote unquote treatment, so to speak?
Yeah, I've had some pretty incredible things happen. So I'm guided by spirit. Like I'm like a channel. So I'm not cognitively thinking, okay, this person needs this right now.
Right.
It's just something that I'm guided to do.
Okay. And
the frequencies will vibrate through the body, and I've pulled and removed things. I've balanced certain things out. So it's kind of like on a person-to-person basis. And first, before we even sit down to do the medicine, I talk to you about like, what are your intentions? What are you processing? What are you trying to clear? So that we can kind of know if these things come up, how to support you. And then in the medicine, it's a whole different world. So I'm kind of guided as it's processing, and I can tell by reading your energy and your body, you know, to like where you need support. And I get little whispers. I'm like, work here. I'm like, okay. And I get messages, and like some people, like when they're having a hard time letting go and going into it, I'll have to whisper something in their ear to let them know, hey, you're safe. You can go there. And also protect the space, because you are opening yourself up to other things as well. So that's why it's very important to be with someone that knows what they're doing. But yeah.
So are these remedies needed on a continual basis, or do you just come into it kind of like treatment specific? I'm just using the word treatment. So if you're having, you know, a childhood trauma, so you come in for that, and then you have another thing that you want to work on, a life event that you want to come in, or just you want to grow and you need some more information, some more downloads. Do you just keep coming in, or is it just specific like that?
So it'll depend on the person. Like I've known people who have done one ayahuasca ceremony and it changed their life, and that was all they wanted. So for me, my path has put me on this path where I'm going in pretty frequently, like every few months, just for my own healing and clarity and progression, so that I can hold space. But yeah, so you're going to have, a lot of times you're going to go in with an idea of what you want to get out of it. And Spirit's like, first we have to face this. Like, so you're not going to get what you want all the time. Sometimes it's what you need.
Right.
And oftentimes you're going to go in, and then you'll know when you're called. There are people that need to be cautious, because there are people who use it as an escape. So they go through these profound experiences, and then they're not integrating it into their lives. And integration is key for lasting change. So you're going to be shown all these things. You're going to be able to release a lot, but then it's implementing those lessons that you learned in your day-to-day life. So integration is a lifelong process, but it gives you an awareness to use for your everyday life when you start to, like, say you're triggered in some form or fashion. You're going to be like, recognize it and be able to shift your perspective pretty quickly. So I do help with integration as well, because that's just as important, because you don't want people going through these profound experiences and then go right back to their old behavior. Right.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine in from Hawaii, and this is several years ago, many years ago, actually. He did changa. I remember that. And he wanted to go deeper. He said it just wasn't deep enough. And then he went to this retreat in Peru. And he was down there for 30 days. He went, he couldn't bring anything. He wasn't allowed to bring anything except the clothes he was wearing. And he went down there, did ceremony, ayahuasca, some other things. There were just different experiences that he had, different teachings, different learnings. And then again, they would have ceremony. This changed his life. He came back after 30 days. And I mean, he even looked different physically. You know what I mean? And he had this radiance about him. His traumas were clean. His goal and purpose in life shifted from what he was doing. He used to live in Vegas, and he moved back to Hawaii after this. And he got back to, you know, his island life and helping more people. He felt more secure within himself, more confident in himself. His relationships were better. It was amazing. And that's where my interest in all this started, way back when, to see one of my good friends just shift entirely. It wasn't about going there to get high or anything. He said that changa was like the stepping stone for something that he was called to do for more work. And he came out this amazing, amazing soul. Incredible, incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of like people think trauma has to be a big, severe thing, and it's not. Like when we're children, the way we're perceiving things sticks with us.
Yeah.
our environment, things like that. And we also like don't realize how much baggage we're carrying. So you're walking through life and you're picking up stones, and now your back's getting heavy and you're cranky and you don't know, you can't truly be yourself. And so what it's doing is allowing you to take that bag off, see it for what it was, and like live in a whole new reality where you start to create what you're here to create. You're living with much more inner freedom, inner peace, inner knowing. And changa, most people's changa is not like mine. Well, mine's really potent, and I mix it with a bunch of different like things like mugwort, blue lotus, and all these different flowers and herbs. So mine's like 40 to 90 minutes. Normal changa is like 20. So, but yeah, it's a doorway. They're all different doorways, different teachers, if you will.
Sure.
And some people need or are called to do that. Like I went and lived in the jungle for a month and did all of that. And it's profound because you get disconnected from all the noise of society. And you really go within and reprioritize your life. And a lot of us don't even realize how unhappy we are because it's just the cycle that we're in.
That's exactly what he said, because he was living the life in Vegas. You know what I mean? And that was his life. He had left Hawaii to go to Vegas. You know, it's called the Ninth Island. That's what we call people from Hawaii. We call Vegas the Ninth Island. So he went there, and he was just living the dream. But he was missing something. He was just absolutely missing something. And he did changa. Then he just had this next step, and then he went and profound. And he went back to the island. And he's from one of the smaller islands. You know what I mean? So it's not Honolulu where everything's hustle and bustle. He's back to just the beach. Banana trees.
Kauai?
Yeah, it's Kauai. So I didn't
I want to go there so bad.
So it's the baby Grand Canyon. So that's where he's from, and he's living the land again, and everything's amazing. Now you are getting ready to have a retreat as well, the Stargate Experience in May, I guess the 12th through the 14th in Dragoon. Is it
not this weekend, but next?
Is it an invite kind of thing? Do you want to tell anyone about it? What's involved with it? It's up to you if this is something that you want to call people to.
Well, it's coming up pretty quick. So basically, we're doing a 3-day experience, and it's on the sacred Native American land in Dragoon, Arizona, near Tucson, and very like charged land. But I'm working with a very gifted psychic healer friend of mine, and we are facilitating different ceremonies. So the first one's going to be sassafras, which is like a plant that's kind of like MDMA, but it's MDA. It's a plant that's like a heart opener, so it makes you feel a lot of love and really tune into yourself and the land and everyone there. We'll be doing that the first night. And then the second and third days, we're doing one-on-one changa ceremonies for people to really get their own deep work and we're the breath work and yoga. So it's going to be a very transformative, like for anyone who shows up, it's going to change their lives. And this is our first one. I typically do one-on-one changa ceremonies with individuals, and I'll go to their place or have a certain area. So this is a whole different range, and I'm super excited about it because I've already facilitated ceremonies here,
right?
And there's like ancient petroglyphs and ceremonial grounds from the natives, so they are present, and just a lot of energy vortexes. So we're gonna truly like dive in and help people heal and tap into their purpose. And a lot of people that I've already previously worked with are coming. So like if people are called to it, they'll kind of know. And what we do is we kind of interview you, and then you submit paperwork that goes to the nurse practitioner to make sure you're not on any medications or anything that would impact that. And then, so I'm hoping you'll show up, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
We're gonna, we'll be documenting it, just to kind of share like people's experiences, because I haven't done this before, but I think I'm going to start recording people when they come out of the medicine, because the insights and the energy and the light that comes on in their faces.
Yeah.
And I think it would be good for the individual to even reflect on
that would actually
later.
that'd be pretty cool. Just, stick a camera in their face as soon as they come out. No, I mean, just have a camera there, and then, just as long as they're giving you the permission, record it, and just something to take home. You know what I mean? To just kind of reflect. Yeah. That'd be absolutely cool. If someone wants to go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was on a documentary for Bufo with a German film crew with one of my friends who serves Bufo in Mexico. So I had the camera in my face right after, and I didn't even know what to say. It was like beyond words.
Nice. Well, if anyone wants to get a hold of you in regards to the retreat or anything else that we've talked about, ceremony, using frequency, the Healy device, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay, yeah. So I do offer free 2-hour sessions with Healy where I can scan long distance, and we go through your aura and your body and mind and deliver frequencies, kind of see where you're at and what you're processing.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the retreat stuff. So you can email me at piazza8523@gmail. I'm also on Instagram at AM, as in Michael, Piazza22. And I am going to be starting a podcast soon, so I don't know if I can link it under this later. But I'm going to be having all of my extremely gifted friends that I've met along my journey to have them come on and kind of share their information.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And their wisdom and their tools and stuff like that. So
absolutely. I'll help you get your podcast going, brother.
Yeah.
Nice.
I need your help.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, man. I hope everyone got a little insight on this. We could go forever. I think, I'll have you on again. We'll get more into the Healy device and talk more about that. That's a whole beast in itself. I think is amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get you back on to talk about that, but I appreciate you. You've answered some of my questions, and anything else you want to add?
I appreciate you for allowing me to share this with the world. And if anyone's called, I can go in depth and answer any questions and share tools that I've found that have helped me. It doesn't necessarily have to be frequency or plant medicines. It could be books and different materials. So I'm always here to help anyone on their journey. We're all here to walk each other home, right? And empower each other and hold space. So honored to be doing that. Absolutely.
There's too much shit in the world right now. And we just need to, people just need to be there to honor each other, help each other in any way. But yeah, brother, I appreciate you, Tony. Tony Piazza. Everybody.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Much love.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for giving me space today in this episode. I hope you were able to get something from it. Share it with your friends. I hope that you subscribe to the show, Growing the Base. But just thank you so very, very much for your time. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you in the next episode. So you guys take care. Peace. And aloha, everyone.